Brothers, I'm about to open this meeting of the 100th Supreme Council of the Board of Directors and the Supreme Council. We have apologies from Bishop Tom. He's running late, so if Father Ryan could do the ecclesiastical part.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Holy Father, Lord and Giver of life, we, your servants, are gathered here to do your will. Come to us, be with us in our discussions and decisions. Give us the strength to carry out those decisions in charity, unity and fraternity, for the good of the order, for the good of the Church, and for your glory. We ask this through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
We pray for our Holy Father, Pope Francis, for all bishops and clergy, and ask that you sustain and strengthen them. Lord, hear us.
Lord, graciously hear us.
Brothers, please be seated. Brother Roger. Yes. I used to be the first person to do that, Roger. First of all, brothers, Bishop Tom's running late because of the weather, so he will join us whenever we have. The first thing I would like to say is thank you very much for all getting here and managed to get here. But over this weekend, if we can please remember in our prayers a wonderful servant to the order, Brother Will Gallagher. Brother Will's funeral is Monday and Tuesday, and hopefully we'll get people there to do that. A wonderful guy for the order. And we also, Brother Ron Lynch, past Supreme Knight, is attending a funeral in Nottingham of Brother Robert Love. Again, he was a Grand Knight of Council 67. So if we remember all them brothers in our prayers. Brother Dominic, have you got any housekeeping, please?
1, 2. Good afternoon, brothers. Welcome to the wonderful city of Edinburgh. Even though I'm from Glasgow, I love this city. I really do. Thank you all, the Supreme Knight and the Board of Directors. A wee bit of housekeeping for you. On hearing the fire alarm, which we haven't been told there will be one, so on hearing a fire alarm and continuing sirens, please evacuate the building to the nearest exit, which is these 2 doors here, and it takes you down to the stairs at the back. And once we get down the stairs, we just head out right across the road there, just at the car park, and that's where we will be outside, okay? On discovering a fire, raise the alarm by fully pressing the glass on the nearest breaking glass point situated outside the room between the 2 double doors, and the evacuation procedure. But as I said, there's no any warning of going to be. There was one at lunchtime today. Toilets are outside, brothers, just as you go out the door there. Disabled and male and female. And just other wee things, please respect the chamber. Turn off all your mobile phones so nobody's been distracted. And there is sheets, pads on your desk. Could you please, from every province, please sign that and tell me how many are in attendance. Raise them so that one of the stewards can collect them. It's so that we know what the voting strength is, if you don't mind. So how many, what provinces are from, and how many have attended from that province. Once you've done that, raise them up and the stewards will collect them. There's only one other thing that I've got to tell you. Is the nice glasses in the box there and the pens are a gift from Province 3 for their centenary year. So that was a nice touch from Province 3. You can take them home and sell them. That is it, well, the Supreme Knight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Absolutely. Brother Jim and the stewards will collect the sheets, and Brother Dominic will let me know what's happened. The first thing we'll do is the minutes of the 99th Supreme Council, brothers. Is there any matters arising or brothers wish to state? Father Michael Gallagher.
We've got these, but we haven't got normally the sheet that says
Just use the right pads.
Okay, I do apologise, brothers. We haven't got the sheets here. So on the pad, if you just write your province number and the number of brothers that are there. Yeah, okay. Brother Dominic, I believe our fraternal guests from Ireland here. Could I ask Brother Charlie and Brother Tony to go and escort our guests in? Brothers, can we be upstanding to receive our guests? Oh, yeah, hang on. What's he saying, Jim? Oh, I thought it was Sean. I thought you said they were there. Okay, sit down again, brothers. It's a false alarm, false start. Yeah. Well, we'll have to start again in a minute. I'm sure somebody's just gone downstairs to actually get them and they're getting rolled up. But we can start with the minutes of the 99th Supreme Council held in Jersey. Brothers, hopefully you've gone through the papers and read them. I know you had them by email recently. Is there any matters arising from those minutes? If any brother wants to. No? Could I have a proposal, please, to adopt those minutes? Brother Brian Beaton. Can I have a seconder, please? Okay. Brother Alex Rugg in the corner there. Thank you very much, brothers. We'll go through precipice of correspondence that we have. Oh, sorry. We've gone that one. That's all right. Have we any apologies, brothers, for attendance at the Supreme Council? I know that Brother Ron Lynch is running late. He's at a funeral. Bishop Tom and Brother Alf Swain are running late because of traffic. Brother Sean?
What is Supreme Night? Adelaide asked me to.
Yeah. Well, he said we have Brother Pat Layden and obviously Brother Frank Redmond. Brother Liam?
Well, it's Supreme Night. Brother Andrew Burns, but he will be here, I think, in about the next half an hour.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, thank you.
He's here. He's behind you.
Brother Paddy's behind you. That's okay, thank you. It's all right. That's fine, brothers. That's great. It's for apologies. I'm going to leave the scripture reading. I'm not going to drop it. Sorry. Are they here? Brothers, could we be upstanding and receive our fraternal guests? Brother Richard.
Please ask the apologies by the Supreme Knight, Brother John Doran, he's ill.
Sorry, thank you, Brother Richard. Brothers, I would like to introduce you to the very new Supreme Knight of the Knights of St Columbanus, Brother John Murphy. He was elected last week, so a big round of applause for Brother John. And I'm sure you'll make him very welcome over the weekend and show him through, I can't say Scottish hospitality, I've got to say British hospitality. Please talk to John and make him feel very welcome. And beside him we have the new Deputy Supreme Knight. And it's a bit strange when you have it, because we had a PJ as well, but our PJ was our first Supreme Knight, PJ O'Callaghan, and they've sent us across a PJ Finn. So welcome, Brother PJ, and brothers the same for Brother PJ. Please enjoy. Our next part should be a scripture reading, but Bishop Tom's not here, so I'll wait. I won't drop that on Father Ryan or Father Philip. Father Philip said 2 masses over the last 2 days, so we've probably had enough sermons from Father Philip at the moment. But again, I have to say, wonderful, wonderful Mass last night in the cathedral with the relics. It was fantastic. And I'm sure Father Ryan will join us over the weekend for Mass as well. I look forward to Mass on Sunday, so that's fine. So we have Precipice of Correspondence. We had a few people who had sent their apologies. They would like to have been here, like the Papal Nuncio, and various different bishops and priests that were invited that couldn't make the actual Supreme Council. But one of the things I'm going to say to you about the Precipice of Correspondence this year, I believe I need to say it now, it may come up later on, is that we obviously, as an order on the board, agreed to give our widows a £250 cheque as a bonus. The amount of emails, letters, cards that we have received into the head office from the widows is just unbelievable. And the underlying theme from those cards was quite simply, thank you for remembering us. That is most important, that they have felt that we haven't forgot them or their loved ones who have passed away. So that to me was a wonderful, wonderful thing. So you're right, Brian, a wonderful round of applause for our widows. So again, there was lots of different letters as well that we've done in emails. So brothers, we'll carry on with the business of the day, and we'll go to the Supreme Knight's report. It's on page 37 to 41.
Where the Supreme Knight, there are no numbers on the pages.
Although there's no numbers on the pages, brother, apologies for that from our printers. But if you look through the pages, you'll find a big page that says Supreme Knight's Report. And I'm looking for a wee bit here. That's it. That's fine.
Flag, please, brothers.
I think we have it. There we go. You can see I'm not very technically minded, brother. Reverend Fathers, normally I would start with my Lord Bishop, but he's not here. So I say Reverend Fathers, honoured guests, brothers, is my report to Supreme Council. What I have to say, I'm not going to read it verbatim, hopefully that we've all read it. I do have a wee bit at the end. What a start to last year's Supreme Night. Again, it's been for me a great honour to have been elected as your Supreme Night. Over the next 2 months after Supreme Council, Trish and I were on our travels again. We started off in Middlesbrough for their 100th anniversary, and then with the Southern Provinces elevation at Aylesford and the deceased Mass at Westminster, which again, wonderful occasions for us all to see the fraternity around the order, and that's one of the main things that we have as an order, is to have this fraternity. Again, it was with sorrow that we learned of Bishop Tripp's death on the 5th of October. He was our ecclesiastical advisor in the 90s. We thank him for his service. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend his funeral. I visited Carfin for a national pilgrimage there. Wonderful turnout for nights as well to be there. I also attended the National Shrine of Our Lady of Walsingham, where we joined up with the brothers from the Knights of Columbus, where we gave them a cheque for £20,000 as a donation to the Ukraine appeal. I met with Brother Ron Schwartz, who's their treasurer when I was in Rome with IAC, and they were absolutely delighted again that we could think of them at that time. And sadly, the European chairman of Columbus sadly passed away. He was the Grand Knight of Council 60, Brother Mike Esters. He was in a bad crash just after August this year. So we remember Mike as well. We decided we'd have a regional director training session, because again, some of the things that were coming out we weren't quite sure about. So after the board meeting, we felt it was a very productive meeting and very informative. And as I said in the day, it was a new position, and we were learning as we go along. And again, I'd like to thank Brother Charlie McCluskey, KSG, for the input they did. It was a very interesting session. We came up with lots of interesting things that was there. I sent out Christmas cards to the hierarchy. Again, collaboration is a word that I've always used as a Supreme Knight, and we collaborated with SPUC, and we had the 10 million prayers for 10 million lives campaign in conjunction with SPUC, and that culminated in a 40 hours adoration in Middlesbrough, which was well attended. We had a second board meeting in January. Decided to have a PGK training meeting and information day, because again I was getting information from brothers. We're not getting information, we're not getting this, we're not getting that. So we had a meeting, and we had 18 out of 25 brothers there, which was a good attendance. And again, Brother Charlie was the training officer for the day, and again that went down well. As you know, in the meeting in December, we decided to give our widows, because of the financial climate, a payment of £250. I have already said to you how much the widows have felt on that and how much they actually liked it. We had a wonderful occasion in Glasgow as well. I don't think there'll be too many of us, Brother Tony and Brother Charlie, as past Supreme Knights that will reach 60 years in the order, you know. So it was great to see Brother Pat and his wife May, who they're doing well. Pat's doing well. His usual self, I can assure you, he was champing a bit to have a few words with us, and it was very, very good. You know, so again, we lost another stalwart of the order, Brother Ken Hargreaves, and I was represented startly by Brother Danny, and there was quite a number of brothers there. At that time, we also must remember the victims of the earthquake in Turkey. We donated £5,000 to the disaster fund. Now looking forward to a new chapter for the Order as well, with our move to the new offices. As you know, we are now in 96 Clyde Street, which is the curial offices of the Archdiocese of Glasgow. I can tell you that the Archdiocese are as happy about us being in there as we are in there. Now obviously the idea of moving the office was, and we won't see the benefits of that for a couple of years. It's going to take time to see the savings that we have in there. But it also makes Mary very safe as well, because in Hillington you would chat the door and Mary would have to actually answer the door, whereas in the curial offices you've got to go through a receptionist and you have to ring your bell, so nobody can get in to see Mary without Mary saying. So if she doesn't like you, she just won't let you up. You know, it's as simple as that. She just won't let you other up. Yeah. Brother Bertie attended the funeral for me of Mrs. Phyllis Braid. We've also got a new member of staff, Claire. She's downstairs at the moment waiting for her black, but we'll talk about them over the weekend. Brother Bertie, Mary and I have been working our way through the payments for the Catholic Building Societies. So, brothers, one of the things that we have, the problem we have there, we've been asking for your bank details. If you have money in the Building Society, you have to give us your bank details, and I'm sure Bertie will mention it in his finance report as well. And we're working our way through the widows' payments as well. And we hope the office will have a good effect on the finances over the years, what we can actually save. On the 24th of May, Council 614 Berkeley Province 37 organised the IAC Day of Prayer, and with the kind permission of Brother Charlie, the IAC President of the time, then we live streamed that, and we had a great turnout from brothers they came from Australia, Ghana, Ireland, and a few more places that I didn't actually catch on the day. Trish and I attended the IAC conference recently, which was fantastic. We with Archbishop Malcolm, and congratulations to Brother Brendan, who you all know, Brother Brendan McCann. He's the new IAC president, and I'm sure he'll do a wonderful job. I'll give a wee bit here. Brothers, the orders of the Knights of St Columba are tasked to conform their lives so they reflect Christ's life more fully, giving to God what belongs to God, since we all belong to Him. Now that's a statement that the Bishop Tom Nayland made. And we should be following our three virtues of charity, unity and fraternity. I'm sorry to say that sometimes over the year there's been places where that hasn't actually happened, and I wonder why some brothers join. When you come into the council chambers, I've always said, like, we're all entitled to our opinion. I'm sure we're going to have lots of opinions over the weekend. I may disagree with you, I may not. I might agree with you, I may not. It doesn't matter. But we're all entitled to that opinion. And please remember those three virtues: charity, unity and fraternity. If a subject doesn't go your way this weekend, you have to take the majority of the council and accept that. It's one of the things, that's why we're a democratic and fraternal organisation. After the board meeting in April, I was tasked to look at a couple of suggestions. One of the suggestions was, brothers, can we be upstanding please for Bishop Tom? Bishop Tom's there. You're sitting next to Charlie.
Thanks very much.
Welcome, Bishop Tom. Welcome to Scotland in the bad weather. Yeah, as I said, one of the things I was asked to look at was benefits for members. You know, how do we get people to join the nights, and we should have benefits. You know, if you go to Asda, you get 10% off. You go someplace, you get 10% off. So I did some research on that, and I discovered a few companies that would give us discounts at various retails and restaurants. The outcome for the numbers that we have in the order that they were looking for was a very large amount of money. You know, for us to get these benefits to help and maybe help with membership, they wanted £48,000, and that was the smallest. That was the smallest one. So you can imagine that idea was put to bed, and that won't be happening. But it's just to keep you aware of that when we do get asked to do stuff, we actually go ahead and do it. The other one that we were asked was to look at a PR company for the order to maybe change our image. I had a 2-hour meeting with a PR company way back in June to discuss what we could do for the order and how we could change its image and everything else. We already had an action plan that we could have been working from and we're using, and I don't think there's much change in that action plan than when it was first thought out. But again, this person wanted between £1,500 and £2,000 a month. Well, I'm afraid we weren't going to spend that sort of money for that. But I was quite happy to sort of take some of his ideas. One of the ideas we took was making the KSC Facebook page was public. And Brother Sean will tell us during his report just how successful that's been with the amount of followers and the amount of people that have hit on various different things. So that was great. One of the things that you're going to see and hear very shortly, it'll be Brother Bertie's finance report. I've got to say now, brothers, before we go any further, Brother Bertie, myself and Mary have spent a colossal amount of time on these, and the results you'll see in the finance report. When we were asked about safeguards and what we had implemented to check our finances, we've set up a staff meeting, you know, every Monday that Bertie, myself and Mary meet, and we don't pay anything out until we all agree on that. We also, through, like most companies would do, policies and procedures. We have an agenda, we do that, and we'd expect these systems to continue in the future. Brothers, that's my report. Thank you, brothers. The next subject is the election of Supreme Knight. I'll now pass this over to Brother Bertie. I'll remove the chain.
Point of order, worthy Supreme Knight.
Sorry?
Point of order, worthy Supreme Knight.
Yeah, go on.
Come to the rostrum, but it'll be recorded.
You can use that one, Richard.
This one goes that.
Okay.
We've been following history here, worthy Supreme Knight and brothers.
It's on. It's still on.
Yeah.
Brothers, your name and province and council, please.
Sorry, worthy Supreme Knight. Brother Richard Mitchell, Provincial Grand Knight, Nottingham Province. Historically, we've been electing officers at the end of each individual report. On a point of order, I'm proposing that you defer elections until after we've had the finance report, because that is what normally happens in any commercial company. We are actually trying to become a limited liability company, entity of the order, and it's been going fairly stickily so far. We need to follow commercial practice. Therefore, I'm proposing that elections are deferred until we've had at least the finance report. Will the Supreme Knight?
Well, can we have a seconder for that proposal?
I would second that.
Okay, that's all we've got. I would say then it's been seconded by Brother Tony Britton. Okay, brothers, can I have a show of hands on that?
Hold your hands up, brothers, please, so I can see. All right.
We don't want to be doing Tony's job from the start, but can you hold up the cards that you have rather than your hands, just in case there is someone there who's not an actual delegate?
And the voting strength is 53.
Well, the Supreme Knight, 54 is
54.
just came in.
Keep your cards up, brothers, just for again, just keep up. Those against?
Those against?
That's carried.
The board voting or?
Yeah, the board's voting for those against it.
Carried. That's carried. What is Supreme Knight?
There's a surprise and a good start to Supreme Council, brothers. Thanks very much. Okay, we'll now ask for the finance report. Right? Do you want me?
Worthy Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, Reverend Fathers, brothers, the finance report you've had is a separate item, okay? It's in the booklet, attached to it, all right? You're with me on it, yes? So the finance report of Supreme Council.
Sorry, Brother Bertie, would you like me to give some
Background, if you wish.
background information before we start? Okay, we had Brother Bertie and myself and Mary got the accounts from the accountant about 12 weeks ago and went through the accounts and we discovered that our loan had gone up to £104,000 and we asked the question, how can our loan go up when as far as we believe we've paid about £90,000 off the account? Basically it turns out there's two accounts, there are 4 bank accounts that we have. Historically, those bank accounts were set up by Brother Tony Docherty in his day. And the first account is the KSC number 1 account. Now that has £500 in it, and when that gets up to over £500, it transfers into our high interest account. 2 reasons for that at the time. Well, we get extra interest from the high interest account, and also it prevented anybody from taking any money out of that account. You know, so nobody could take any money out of the account because obviously we had the problems at that time, and we know who took the money, so that was fine. So Tony set that up, and then what happens is when you have to pay out any expenses or anything else. You have to transfer the money from the high interest rate account back into the number one account. So you've got transfers there back and forward all year between these two accounts. The accountants have then classed this as us using benevolent fund money, because that account was actually classed as a benevolent fund, and it wasn't a benevolent fund. It's one of our accounts. It's a working account, and at that time, so basically, Mary and I had to spend about 5 or 6 hours matching up the actual transactions, and we matched them all up to make it up. And basically, we agree with the accounts. The problem is, then he was then saying that we owed £40,000, which we didn't. Because it was called a benevolent fund, they said that we were using benevolent fund money, which we weren't. We were using our own money, and this is where the misunderstanding has came from. Now the accountant is sending us over a schedule of money that we have taken from the benevolent fund account. For us to take money from the actual benevolent fund account, you have to go to Brother Bertie or myself, have to come to the board and ask permission to transfer stocks and shares. Now last year we only transferred £50,000. Forget about the widows, because that's in this year's accounts, not last year's. So last year we transferred £50,000 in stocks and shares into cash for us to pay back the Catholic Building Society money. So that's the only money that we've actually had. And if you actually read the accounts there, the £60,000 that should have come in for the Golden Jubilarian money, we actually haven't taken that out of the benevolent fund for I don't know how long, to be quite honest, because Bertie and I are going to have to, after this weekend, go through the accounts with the accountant again to find out, because we've got to change the name of that account. So basically we haven't been having the finance, and I truly believe if the Golden Jubilarian money had been coming across, then Brother Charlie might not have had to borrow that £100,000. Right? But what I've got to say to you is a mistake that we found. Right? We can't change anything. I've got to tell you as well and make it quite clear, there's no misappropriation of funds. There's no money missing. There's nothing like that at all. It's just been mistakes on the actual bookkeeping side of it. Now, the accounts have not been signed because Brother Bertie and I are held accountable for that. If I sign these accounts and say that they're okay, then I'm liable to go to jail. And I'm sure Tricia and Pauline would be very disappointed with that, on that. So what we're saying is, right, this is why it's taking so long for them to come out, brother. We've spent so much time to look at this. We have looked at these accounts on numerous occasions, and there's mistakes there that we were asking the questions for. We held an emergency board meeting when Brother Danny and I were in Ireland last weekend. We had the board meeting, we had the accountant there, and Brother Ron Lynch was there as well. So the outcome of that was we had to go away and find out what the other account was. Was there two benevolent fund accounts or was there one? So Sunday and Monday after I come back from Ireland, I spent again a lot of time finding out, and you have to drill down into the accounts to find out what it's actually called. And in the right hand corner of the BHIE account in the statements, there's a wee line that says benevolent fund. Now, Brother Bertie has been working on the fact that we had 3 KSE accounts and 1 benevolent fund. The accountants have been working on the fact that we had 2 benevolent fund accounts and 2 working accounts. So, Brother Bertie, that's the history of it, so can I pass that on to you now?
Thank you, Brother Supreme Knight. Yes, basically the order has 4 bank accounts, and that's what's happened. But what has occurred is the fact that the accountant has looked at the accounts and done what anybody would do, perhaps, seen all the transfers going over and back between the 4 accounts, and put a sheet into us saying intercompany transfers, which of course creates the issue for us straight away. There's around 40-something thousand involved in all that, basically, brothers. There's no fiddling, nothing like that, please, brother. It's just because the way the order have the accounts stated. Can I just carry on, brother, saying to you that I will answer questions, but for the Supreme Night now, I will answer questions as much as we possibly can. Any other questions, we will have to take them back and come back to you. So basically, brothers, we're talking about the accounts of the order, where there is nothing wrong with the actual accounts that you actually have seen and is in front of you. But Brother Harry and I need it confirmed with Supreme Council so that you're all happy with it. So we'll go through them now in a moment. All right. So basically the problem is the current account has a trading deficit of £36,032. And so that's the year to the 31st of the 3rd, 23. The previous year it was a profit of £1,301. We moved during the year, this current year, we have moved head offices from 75 Hillingdon Road, which was our old place for donkey's years, and we have moved into 196 Clyde Street, which is offices, proper offices which we have rented, and it's in the accounts. I can go through it with you in the accounts. We hope to sell 75 Hillingdon Road. But at this point in time, we haven't. It's still in there. It's still part of the system. The Central Benevolent Fund account shows a trading loss of £58,966. Well, we all know what stocks and shares and gilt edges and all the rest of it are like. And indeed, that loss is due to the Ukraine war, turmoil in the banking sector, totally out of our control. And this is where an issue has arisen with that. Remember, brothers, that stocks and shares, all these at a particular point in time, i.e. the 31st of March, it's only a snapshot of what we do. Stocks and shares go up and down. I'm sure that there are some of you here who know this quite well and know exactly what happened. Indeed, going back some years ago, there was a loss of 65,000 in that account. And within 3 months, it had overtaken itself and gone back up again. Brother Charlie McCluskey at that point in time phoned me and says, what have you done with the money? But that's what happens in stocks and shares. It just goes up and down. We don't worry about it. It's done by outside investment management for us. Brother Martin Cook is the order's investment for the order, but there's the investment managers that holds all the money and does the trading in the stocks and shares. Quilter Cheviot. All right? I will come to budgets later on, brothers, because budgets, I need to put the budgets up for you and see what they look like. During the year, brothers, and I see this and I hear it all the time, of banking issues from councils. Some councils have issues, they let the treasurers, Lord rest them, die. And they haven't got another signature on the account, or the other signature on the account has died as well. This is where the issues start, and I'm a treasurer of another organisation, another account, and there are 4 of us on that, with any two signing from 4. This is what we should be doing. Indeed, the order's own accounts, there are 3 of us on it, with 1 overseeing. If you have various issues about banking, brothers, you need either to talk to me about it or talk to the banking ombudsman and make a complaint to your bank and the banking ombudsman. The order cannot help you in regards council banking. But individuals in that council can pay their funds surely to the province, and the province can pass the money on to us in head office. Just a thought. Right, brothers, I will turn to the accounts. The accounts of the order, brothers, on the income and the expenditure, brothers, of the current account. You can see it all there. The income is invoice, council dues invoice, 115,842. The allowances is £19,910. That comes across from the Central Benevolent Fund, if it comes across. What you're looking at there is not correct, brothers. That's a draft for the coming year. You need to see the proper accounts that you have in front of you. The administration cost of the Benevolent Fund is £15,000. This is what the orders central account charges the Central Benevolent Fund the administration cost, and this was set up many years ago. Basically, it's the cost of what the person in the office is to dealing with it. That's what it basically works out at. Other income, brothers, we can get other income from donations, etc., etc. I won't go into the breakdown of that. The lottery surplus is 10,599. All gives you a total of £165,633. We then go down, brothers, to office-related costs. Agency salaries and fees were 11,000. Salaries themselves was £35,164. The pensions was £834. This is outstanding. But as you have to remember, again, going back to what I just said, 31st of March, to draw the line through it and to see that snapshot at that point in time. That's why you see pensions at that point in time. Telephone costs, postage costs, printing and stationery costs, equipment hire and maintenance. That's for printers and all that type of stuff that we have in head office that we have to carry on with. Professional fees are the accountant's fees and our legal advice that we take from our barristers. Total office related comes to £66,279. Accommodation, rent, rates, heating and lighting, £4,689. The word rent in there, of course, is a bit of a gimmick because actually the order as such does not pay rent. The order does not pay rent on 75 Hillingdon Road. Rates, excuse me. Rates. The order does not pay rates on 75 Hillingdon Road because it's owned by the Central Benevolent Fund as a charity. The council do not charge us rates. So we have heating and lighting, repairs, general expenses, insurance is £2,540, and that gives you total accommodation of £13,834. Supreme Council last year, brothers, cost the order £34,980. Previous year was £34,793, which is not too bad. The Board of Directors meetings, which was what our Supreme Night referred to there, is involved in all that, brothers, which is meetings belonging to the board. Plus, we move down then and find that there is also board committee meetings and expenditures. Going down slowly at a time. Board meetings, 21,000. Well, that's come up on 7,000 from the previous year. The Supreme Night's expenses. The Supreme Night's expenses are covered by the order. So his expenses were £11,359. Board and committee expenditure, this is where the issue arose during the year of £17,158, brothers. What is in there, brothers, is all meetings that occurred, but all meetings as well, and some of you were at the meetings that were brought about and talked about on the changes to the regions and provinces, etc., etc. That's all that in there. The Mercy Bus, the Apostolate Fund, £7,000 roughly speaking. There was no one of that of the previous year in 22, so that's why that's a blank there. So the total board and supervision came to £91,891, which is an increase from the previous year of 54,000. Then we come down to other items, brothers. Columba magazine, £9,096. Well, that was because, brothers, instead of it being 3 issues or 4 issues, there was 2 issues or 3 issues, and there were bigger issues. Instead of it being 24 pages, it was 36 pages. That type of carry-on went on. You have to be careful as well, brothers, because within that figure is the postage cost for sending out that magazine. The Ajax subscription, the previous year we paid double, 1,804. It's normally £904. So that year we paid out double, so it's not due again until next year. That's International Alliance of Catholic Knights, brothers, I'm talking about. The youth cost was £5,518, up from the previous year. Bad debts, brothers, there's no link on bad debts there. Bank charges £518. The interest on the Benevolent Fund loan jumped from £2,838 to £4,969, which was where our worthy Supreme Knight spoke about a few moments ago. There is also a silly in there, because basically speaking, what has occurred, and with the help of Richard Mitchell, we have found out that the order only owes the interest on £100,000, which was borrowed. There was one in there that the accountants had picked up, which was another £40,000, which is basically a red herring. I won't go into it in depth, but it's not in there. Charitable donations, £3,250. Cost of goods sold and consumed is £16,250. That refers to regalia and all the stuff you buy from head office and all that type of thing. That's where that comes into, brothers. Others are total of that is £29,663 and gives you a a deficit of £36,032. If you want to turn over, brothers, to the next page, which is balance sheet of fixed assets. The order owns 75 Hillingdon Road. I'm getting confused with where we are at the moment. 75 Hillingdon Road, brothers, is valued at £80,000. The current stock is £21,480. This is all the stock we have, regalia stock, medals, all that type of material that we have, brothers, in stock. Provincial and Charter Council deposits. This was what our worthy Supreme Knight was talking about earlier on, which was £50,000 that we borrowed from the Central Benevolent Fund to pay back Provincial and Charter Council deposits. This was in the Catholic Building Society at one point in time. We want to move it out of all our accounts. This is why we keep asking, brothers, for the bank details of your councils that have this money tied up in it. We need to return it. Cash at bank on hand, brothers, was £1,600. That gives you a total of £63,000. The current liabilities, brothers, Dormant Council Fund is £11,000. Fund for the Youth in Action is £0. The Disaster Fund is at £23,400. Her Majesty's Customs and Excise, that's PAYE, which, as I said, going back to us on the 31st of March, that comes out of there. The Central Benevolent Fund, brothers, this is where the jump was to £104,080. This is where the jump was in that. This is where the issue is. Trade creditors was £10,677 and expenses, accrued expenses, £5,100. So basically the total liabilities is £157,000. The National Action Project had £276 in it, brothers, at that point in time. The total assets then were £14,126 in deficit. If you work out from the top down and subtract it all, that's what you get, brothers. The re-evaluation, brothers, are coming down to the bottom end. Re-evaluation reserve was £47,000. That's the difference between what was originally the value of head office at 75 Hillingdon Road and what the interest rate has gone up on it. So we have a loss of £14,126. The previous year it was a profit of £21,906. I'll take questions, brothers, unless we want to go to proposals.
Let's take questions for it, Brother Bertie, and see what happens. Brothers, if anybody wants to talk on it, Brother Bertie will take questions. Come up to the rostrum. Brother Jim.
I'll do my best to answer it, please, if possible.
Thank you, Brother Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop. Brothers, Brother Bertie, Jim Holroyd, Deputy Provincial Grand Knight, Province 5, Leeds. Brother Bertie, you mentioned when going down the income and expenditure account for the order, regarding the accommodation, that there was the word rates involved. And you made the point that we don't pay rates on 75 Hillingdon Road because it is owned by the Benevolent Fund. If that's the case, why is it shown as an asset on the order's balance sheet and not on the Benevolent Fund asset sheet?
Brother Roger.
Well, Supreme Knight, Lord Bishop, honoured guests, brothers Roger Khan, Media Provincial Province Grand Knight, Province 11. Question is, where it's got bank charges, are any of these bank charges caused by the inter-transfers? I know on a personal account it doesn't happen, but does it happen on business accounts? And also, are we going to be proposing that we have 4 signatures on any one council or provincial account rather than 3 moving forward? Because if that's so, I think that's a pretty good idea. Because it means I would support that if that be the case.
Thank you, Brother Roger. Brother?
My name is Solomon Izobi, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 34. My question, Brother Betty, it's on the income and expenditure account. BOD meeting. There is this rise from 14,000 in the year 2022 to 21,000. That's an enormous increase in cost. And there is also this rising cost on the Supreme Knight from 3,734 to 11,359, which is also a hefty rising cost. I think if we're looking at a deficit, really, on the income and expenditure and also on the balance sheet, which is not a pretty sight. Thank you.
Brother Tony?
Thank you.
Should be on, Tony, just talking here.
Just a couple of questions. We've got some 2,000 members, roughly, and yet board supervision and etc. It's costing us 91,000. I mean, we can't carry on like that. So, it was 54 the year before, but it's 91. It's gone up this time.
Brothers, just...
It's an increase of 46,000. Anyway, it can't go on like that. We're going to have to do something about it, else we'll be bankrupt in no time. I was interested to listen to what Bertie said about budgeting, because this question hasn't arisen overnight. I mean, it's been coming on gradually over the years. How many times has the Finance Committee met? And did the Finance Committee explain to the board at board meetings exactly what the state of play is? Because if they don't, the board are culpable, because it's their duty to examine it. I take it you're taking the proposals later, so I won't go on to those.
Thanks, Brother Tony. Brother Paddy, I'll come with you, Richard O'Sheen, man.
Good night, Lord Bishop. Paddy Boyle, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 12. I have two questions. One's just my lack of, maybe it's a terminology. The £15,000 for the administration costs of the Benevolent Fund shows income, and I would just like to understand why that. It sounds like a cost rather than an income. And we've just been told that this £104,080 under the liabilities isn't real. But I think I would like to understand that a bit better, because if it's on the balance sheet, then all we can do is read as is, and maybe you can go into it, and I'm sorry if that's a difficult one to answer.
Brother Richard? Thank you, Paddy.
Worthy Supreme Knight, brothers, Brother Richard Mitchell, Provincial Grand Knight, Nottingham. When things are running well, finance debates actually should be pretty boring. Unfortunately, what we've got this year is anything but a boring set of accounts. credit to Brother Bertie and the board for the work they've put into producing them. That's the first thing to say. Now then, our brothers trust the board of the order and the supreme councillors to set an appropriate level of dues and to live within it. And it's the living within it that I want to concentrate on. As Brother Tony has said, a loss of 36,000 is unacceptable. Dues for the year 22-23 were at £52 a member. To have achieved a break-even against that actual central account expenditure would have needed dues to have been set at £65.80 as compared to the 52 that was at the actual charge, and that's a 26.5% increase over the amount actually agreed. The extent of the overspend is therefore a complete failure of the stewardship which we as Supreme Councillors and our board colleagues owe to every member of this order. If you look at the section on board and supervision expenditure that Brother Bertie was pointing you to, the change from 21-22 to 22-23 is an increase of £37,570. That is, broadly speaking, the same as the deficit movement in the entire year. There are ups and downs elsewhere, but if you just concentrate on that, what it means is that there's been insufficient control of expenditure, and we've got to correct that, and it's our duty as Supreme Councillors to ensure that the framework is set to do that. We're now 7 months through the 23-24 financial year.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you, Brother John. And we therefore must assume that the same issue in spending is going to affect this current financial year as well. We're 7/12 of the way through it. It's therefore essential that as of today, no expenditure is incurred that would breach the budget set out in this report for the current year and for 24-25. And Brother Bertie, I think, is going to show it on the screen for us. It's also and anything that is not already contractually committed. Now, our staff need to be aware that their salaries are contractually committed, so it's important that they don't feel at risk or anything like that. It's clearly essential for our board members now to have a proper training session at the first board meeting after each Supreme Council on the obligations and legal duties of directorship and of operating a registered charity. The obligations of the board and Supreme Council are set out in the Constitution and rules.
3 minutes elapsed, it's finished.
Thank you, Brother John. I'm sure somebody else can enlighten you about the Constitution and rules sections.
Brother Charlie.
I could, but I'm not going to. Brothers, Willie Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, it is a case, and I know the Supreme Knight's opinion as well, is that it doesn't look pretty this year in the accounts. We were in a situation where when I was Supreme Knight in 2017, this order was operating insolvently. And one of the reasons we got to that situation is that year this Supreme Council would not increase dues to a relevant level. And we got to a situation where if we had not had the Central Benevolent Fund there to grant us the loan, then we would not be here today. It's as simple as that. It is definitely, when you look at this, that if you look at the income in council dues, that whole figure down there, that income's down by 23,000 brothers. So that tells you that there's a lot less brothers out there paying dues or members of this order. So I think we have to take into consideration what we spend, as Brother Richard said, to what we bring in. We've got to spend less than what we bring in. On basically an interesting one here is that we spent £11,000 in agency costs last year on salaries, but we only reduced salaries by £3,000 over the year. So it's an £8,000 increase in salaries that we paid last year. Again, maybe that's something we have to look at. And also, the board and supervision costs, as Brother Tony said, are through the roof. Now, during the time when I was last on the board, every month there was a set of management accounts produced by Mary, I think, at the end up, but before that, by our accountants. And at every board meeting, those management accounts were addressed and looked at. And then you're doing it live. So it's important, I think, as you move forward, and I would say to the board of directors that you actually have to work with management accounts on a monthly basis, and certainly for each of your board meetings. The other thing as well, Brother Richard, is that he did make a decision last year in Jersey. We did increase the dues to £60. So it would be interesting to see what difference that £8 increase has made in the first 6 months of this year. Thank you, Lord of Supreme Right.
Brother Paul.
Paul Lovell, Provincial Grand Knight 6, Cumbria. The item referred to for board expenditure, should there not be a line in there for training? Because I'm sure some of that actually was training this year. We have to invest in the order, and if there's training there should be a line that's allocated for training. With the Supreme Knight, Brother Bishop.
Thank you, Brother Paul. Before Brother Bertie replies, can I just say as well, brothers, as the 1st of April this year, we had £36,000 unpaid dues. Councils hadn't paid them. And if you remember, a couple of months later, I actually sent out an email telling brothers. So one of the inherent reasons that we're in the position as well is councils have not paid their dues. And when you join the order, we promise to pay our dues at the given time. Brother Bertie.
Or the Supreme Knight, brothers. I will try and answer them, brothers, as much as I can tell you. Brother Jim Holroyd, as regards 75, I will take that up with the accountants and get it changed across, Brother Jim. Brother Roger, bank charges are only on they are what we pay. We paid similar last year and the year before, so bank charges don't vary that much on it. As regards 4 signatures on accounts, I can't work out what you're at there. What I said was I'm involved in another organisation that has four signatures on an account, any 2 signing. Why hasn't that been adopted by councils? It's not that difficult, is it? You have the previous Grand Knight, current Grand Knight, Treasurer, and 1 more. It can be done. It's not a big issue, is it? And this is where the problem arises, because I know that there are councils who haven't paid their dues for the last 5 years because of losing treasurers and losing Grand Knights, losing them, gone to their eternal reward, getting it wrong like that. That's what's going on. Brother Solomon, yes, I know where we're at there, and yes, that is cost. That is cost, and not being looked after properly as regards. It's very difficult to deal with an awful lot of this, in that you produce profit and loss accounts to board of directors meetings, and that's it. And the board of directors will say to you, yeah, we have money in the bank, and that's all we need to know. And that's where the problem arises. No one listens in that respect. I beg your pardon. I'm not disrespectful to any other of my brothers. And indeed, you will see in some of my proposals, which I haven't come to yet, is training and supervision that Richard picked up on as well for the board. And it means all the board. It doesn't mean necessarily the one sitting in the finance situation. Brother Tony Britton, that's as far as I can get you to it, Brother Tony. He was profit and loss on that. But I'm sure you'll come back with something else to me.
You can be reassured.
The £15,000 income has come back up again, and that's exactly what is at. The £15,000 is what was agreed with the Oscar, who is the Charities Commission in Scotland, and the Inland Revenue many years ago, when I think we probably had 30,000 members or such like. You will tell me more about it, I know. So basically, that is what it costs, and that's what was arranged at costing, and that's what it costs for member staff to deal with the Central Benevolent Fund accounts in the orders. That's what it's charged for. 104,000. I'll come back to that, please, if I may. Sorry, that one I have to go to the accountants to get it answered. That was Paddy Boyle. Brother Richard Mitchell. I don't know, Brother Richard, whether the £60 last year's increase will help that.
It will help.
It-
It will help, but it won't necessarily solve it.
No,
Please,
it's
wait, Brother Richard, don't just answer for the table, please.
And the control and expenditure. Well, I have set up a list of what the board, with the Supreme Night, and I have set up a list in the last week of ways and means of cutting down costs. And one of the biggest issue is meetings. And the Supreme Night and I have agreed that there will be no further face-to-face meetings, that they'll be on Zoom or Teams, whichever you want, for the current time. So that way we'll save quite a bit of money. I don't know, Richard, about no further expenditure. I really don't know where we are with that. I would have to draw a line there somewhere. Brother Charlie, income from councils. Yes, Charlie. I think our Worthy Supreme Night said was the fact there were 35,000, 36,000 missing on the 1st of April this year. And that's the problem of trying to get money in from councils. Why, I cannot understand. Some of you, I'm not going to pick on anyone in particular, but some of you have already been told that if a council is in debt in your area, in your province, technically speaking, if the Supreme Night was really difficult, he could turn around and say you cannot attend Supreme Council because you're not in good standing. That's drawing it to the extreme. But this has to be said from time to time, brothers. If we don't get the money in, this is where the issue arises. Sorry, I have people shouting at my ear behind me as well. Sorry, brothers. Brother Charlie, management accounts, Brother Charlie, yes indeed. Brother Paul, thank you, yes, training costs. I have picked up on what Brother Richard said, but I had already had a note of that for going forward in the year, which is part of training. Training of the board on management. But you have to remember as well, brothers, the trusteeship as well that the board of directors hold has to be thought about and brought up to date, because we do not, as Brother Richard pointed out to me, or Brother Ron pointed out to me, was the fact that company law and us come into line now. We are an unincorporated society, but that has all been changing over the last few years, that they're dragging us all into company law and all the rest of it. So that's something else we have to look at. Brother Richard, I see, or Brother Tony, if the Supreme Knights allows you.
Okay, Brother Tony, come.
He must allow me because it's to correct some misinformation. The rule that Brother Birch is referring to goes back to a time when each province membership depended on the number they had. So if you had three, every province was entitled to 2 members at Supreme Council. If you had another 150 members, you got a third one, a 200, etc. There has never been a rule which says that the province cannot be represented at Supreme Council, whether they're in debt or not, because they're not there as representatives, they are there as delegates. You vote individually as individuals, not on behalf of anybody else.
Thank you, Brother Tony.
Thank you for the correction, Brother Tony. As I said to you, brother, some of these have to go back to the accountants, and I have to sit down and talk to them about it. I have referred to what I propose to do with the Worthy Supreme Night and meetings, etc., etc. The sale of head office. There are an awful lot of areas that we can tighten up on. Yes, brothers. I think we need to look at that in depth and come back to the board and bring it forward.
Okay, brother. You want to do your proposals now, Brother Bertie?
Brothers, the first proposal is Proposal 1. Supreme Council is asked to approve annual dues rising to £62 per brother per annum. That's an increase of £2 from the 1st of April 24. We do point out, brothers, that even though we had an increase last year, you must remember that increases are very difficult to get through Supreme Council. I'm sure there are past people here who will turn around and say to me that they have sat at Supreme Council and sat through an increase of 50p for 3 hours. I don't wish that to happen today, but if you want me to talk for 3 hours, I can, believe me, talk for 3 hours. Do we want to take the proposals
Okay, take it
and
one at a time.
vote at them? Thank you very much.
Okay, the first proposal there is that Supreme Council is asked to approve annual dues rising to £62 per brother per annum. All in favour, please? Can we have a count, brothers? Oh, sorry, we need a seconder for it. Okay, brother Brian, brother John. Okay. All in favour, please? Well, there we go.
I don't think we're going to vote there. It's a vote proposal.
That is carried, brothers. So, Brother Dom, that's another 2 brothers come in, so the voting strength is now 55. Okay, so that is carried. Brother Bertie.
Oops, sorry. Word is Supreme Knight. Do you want me to go through this thing of... yes, I will. Golden Jubilee Awards, brothers. Brothers who are 50 years in the order. The current position that these are paid from the Central Benevolent Fund to the order's current account. The trustees consider that the dividends and interest earned from the Central Benevolent Fund account is not sufficient to pay these. In other words, the money we earn from the investments in the Central Benevolent Fund does not cover the cost of Golden Jubilee Awards. The proposal is that the Golden Jubilee Awards be paid by all members or by councillors directly to head office, as in the case of all boroughs. We asked Supreme Councils look at the reasons for, and I go on to special needs allowance, that this amount has increased over a number of years, but under Supreme Director Sean Mulligan, he and his committee looked seriously at all applications and most were subsequently reduced. This I'm talking about is special needs allowance, brothers. And there was special needs allowance in the beginning of my term as Supreme Knight, where I asked Brother Sean Mulligan to look at, because basically speaking there was inherently historical special needs allowance that were coming up, and we had to look at them because there was so much money coming out of it. It was also crazy. The Central Benevolent Fund cannot continue to be used to pay for these. Its returns have reduced dramatically over the years. We believe this needs to be fully discussed at Supreme Council, which I'm doing. The cost of the Central Benevolent Fund over the last 3 years has been 21,000, 18,000, 19,000, basically 60,000, as a worthy Supreme Knight said earlier on. The following will not be charged to councils in the coming year. The Fidelity Bond will not be charged in the coming year to councils. The National Directory will not be charged to you, which is a saving of £6 per annum per council. Proposal 2. Supreme Council is asked to agree that Golden Jubilarians should no longer have their annual dues paid from the Central Benevolent Fund. That is proposal number 2, worthy Supreme Knight.
Before I ask for a second, I see Brother Tony wants to get up there and speak. If anybody else wants to get up and speak, please come up to the mic. Brother Tony.
Worthy Supreme Knight, I am a Golden Jubilarian. I know I don't look it, but... and I am a Golden Jubilarian. I do not object to paying my dues. At the moment, I pay my dues to my council and it goes into council funds rather than to head office. If it has to go to head office, well, so be it. But I want it to go to where the fund that it came out of originally. Therefore, I want it to go into the benevolent fund rather than into the general fund, where it can be purloined.
I'll answer that in a second. Brother Michael.
Worthy Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, brothers. Brother Michael Gallagher, immediate past Provincial Grand Knight, Province 14, Portsmouth. My question is, how many Golden Jubilearians do we have at the moment? Therefore, how much money would this...
£20,000 worth.
How much money would this bring in? What effect would that have? Okay, Tony is happy to pay, possibly he's paying at the moment. But how many of our Golden Jubilearians will react to this, and we may have further M5 lapsations coming in?
Can I just point before... Oh, sorry, Brother Charlie, carry on.
Well, the Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, just to follow on with what Brother Michael said there just now, many of us here will have attended Supreme Council in Glasgow a number of years ago when a certain resolution was put and passed that up to then over 75s did not pay head office dues. And at the time it probably rightly that happened, but the way it happened was overnight when that was decided, and the following day effectively over 75s who had been in the order for some of them 40 years suddenly had to pay dues. There was an exodus and our membership dropped from 9,000 down to 5,000 overnight. Now this could happen again. My concern here is that the Central Benevolent Fund is for need. That's what it was based on. It's always been based on need. This year, and it was a nice idea, but when we gave the payments to widows, the £250 across the board to widows, we didn't base it on need. We just gave it out to willy-nilly. Now, brothers know that, and brothers and councils will hear that. But what they'll be saying is that we gave all that money away to some widows who may not need it, but now we're going to charge brothers who have spent 50 years service to the Knights of St Columba nationally. So I would ask you to oppose this resolution, brothers.
Brother Jim Holroyd, I see Brother Kim.
Worthy Supreme Knight, brothers, Jim Holroyd, Leeds, Province 5. We're looking at the overall picture from the wrong angle, I'm quite sure. I also am a Golden Jubilearian in the second year of the Golden, so I've enjoyed 2 years without paid subs. I'm happy to pay them again next year if I have to, in one form or another. But I think we're looking at it the wrong way. Why do we want to raise dues? Because we're losing money. Well, we're losing money because we're spending too much. Brother Bertie's talked about he's got some budget proposals to come. Those budget proposals have got to concentrate on cutting costs across the board. I don't mean board of directors. Across the whole order expenditure, costs have got to be cut to meet the income. So we put the dues up to 62, project the income based on that, and then cut the cost accordingly. And in 12 months' time, come back and say, we've saved money. Thank you. Worthy Supreme Knight.
Brother Kim.
Worthy Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, brothers, John Kenyon, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 21, East Lancashire. Why do Golden Jubilearians have to claim the money on the Central Benevolent Fund? Why can they not become members without payment?
Oh, Brother John O'Donnell.
Brothers, John O'Donnell, past Provincial Grand Knight, Province 1, Glasgow, Worthy Supreme Knight, Worthy Bishop. I have found myself as a Grand Knight again in Paisley District. And I'm just listening to what the conversation we're having here is. And I feel guilty at not coming clean about things. I have got members within my council who are more than willing to pay their membership, and yet they have got severe disabilities. I've got to help them every single day of the week. I've got to take them to and from meetings. And yet the sad thing about it is, I personally know in my province, the Grand Knights are putting people down, and chancellors, for paying for special needs, and yet some of these people have got more enough money than what I've got, simply because they can be in a pub at times, and yet at the same time they're working, and yet they're on special needs. I think it's down to the Grand Knights of every single council, and also the provincial Grand Knight, to make sure this does not happen. I've actually witnessed it over the last 2 weeks. Well, the Supreme Knight.
Thank you, Brother John. Can I point out just two things, brothers, what we were talking about earlier on? Brother Bertie and I have to look with the accountant this week to see, A, if this money from the special needs allowance has actually came across from the benevolent fund. Hence the reason that we're actually talking about, because we can't see it actually physically, the money physically coming across. And also the fact that the way that the amount of golden jubilarians and special needs, at this moment in time, we have to take about £45,000 out of the benevolent fund to pay for the golden jubilarians and the special needs accounts. Again, it's not rocket science. If we keep going up to this, and this is why it's been flagged up now, if we don't look at the whole situation now, then in 10 years' time, your £500,000 that we've got in the benevolent fund will have disappeared by taking that up. Brother Bertie, do you want to answer the rest? And then we'll take a second.
Well, Worthy Supreme, I really can't answer an awful lot of them, because basically what the brothers are saying is exactly the truth. And the problem is, why was the money for the Golden Jubilarians taken from the Central Benevolent Fund? And I'm going back years. And it's down to you and me to sort out with the accountant to know, has it come across? But we can only do it for this current year.
Yep.
And the problem is, it's happened too many years before this. And that's where the problem is, brothers.
Okay, Brother Bertie, sorry. The best bet then is, if you're quite happy with the conversations there, we need a seconder for that proposal. Can we have a seconder for it, please? There's a brother down the bottom there. Brother Jeff Butters the seconder, and Brother John Kenyon. Okay.
Can we have that proposal reread, please?
Okay. Brother Bertie, you want to reread the proposal?
Proposal 2 states the Supreme Council is asked to agree that Golden Jubilarians should no longer have their annual dues paid from the Central Benevolent Fund. That is what it's about. In other words, the Golden Jubilarians pay dues at £60 or £62, whatever the case is, to head office or via their councils to head office. That's what it is, isn't it, in plain formal English?
Sorry, Brother Tony?
I put an amendment in that it goes to the benevolent fund.
Okay, so can we we'll go back to Brother Tony's amendment that the Golden Jubilarian money, if it gets paid, goes into the benevolent fund. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Brother there has just seconded it. Okay, so Brother Charlie will take the amendment first. So the amendment first is that if the Golden Jubilarians pay the dues, the money goes into the benevolent fund. Can I have a show of hands on that, brothers? Okay, brothers, can we have a show of hands against it, please? That's carried, then, brothers. So the Golden Jubilarians will pay their dues and it'll go to the Benevolent Fund. We'll work out the finance for that. Okay, brothers? Brother Bertie?
Thank you, brothers. We move on, brothers. What's the mushroom about? No? No. Proposal 3, brothers. Supreme Council is asked to approve the central account and the Central Benevolent Fund account. Could I have a show of hands?
Hang on, Brother Roy.
We haven't voted on the proposal, just voted on the amendment.
Because the amendment actually carried it.
Yeah, the amendment.
Because the amendment won the vote, then you don't have to have the other vote. I'm correct in that, Brother Tony, yeah?
No, you have the amendment first.
The amendment comes first, and then the proposal, and the amendment said that I was in favour of paying it just, but if it was paid, it went into the Benevolent Fund.
But it hasn't agreed to be paid yet.
That's right. Well,
All right, they want to take the vote on paying it on that.
Okay then, brothers.
The vote.
Let's take the vote on whether the proposal, the Supreme Council is asked to agree that Golden Jubilarians should no longer have their annual dues paid from Central Benevolent Fund. Could I have a seconder for that? Brother John Kenyon seconded it. Okay, brothers? So for that, all in favour, can you please raise your hands? No, I think that's lost. So the amendment doesn't come into it then. Okay. Okay, thanks for that, brothers. So that's lost. That's fine. Brother Bertie. Brother John Kenyon, what's...
What is the Supreme Night? That vote.
Hang on. Come up to the microphone now.
Well, the Supreme Night, my Lord Bishop, that vote was that they didn't have their money paid by the Central Benevolent Fund. It wasn't that they didn't pay.
The proposal that we have in front of us, John, is you're absolutely right, that it doesn't get paid by the Central Benevolent Fund. Right? But
yes, but it doesn't say that
there's no proposal. There's no proposal there that says that they haven't to pay their dues, or they have to pay their dues. The proposal that's been put forward, and the only proposal that's been put forward, is that Supreme Council is asked to agree that Golden Jubilarians should no longer have their annual dues paid from Central Benevolent Fund.
That's right.
That's right.
But whether they should pay funds, pay dues, is another subject.
But there's not another proposal there for that, John.
Can I put that proposal then? Can I put that proposal?
Hang on. Yeah.
That the dues be paid by the Golden Jubilarians. We haven't voted on it.
Okay then, John, we'll take that back, right? Right. Okay, Brother Bertie's proposal then. Go on, Charlie, really.
The proposal from Brother Bertie is, at the status quo at the moment, is that dues for Golden Jubilarians is paid from the Central Benevolent Fund. The resolution here is it no longer is paid from the Central Benevolent Fund, and therefore is paid by the councils or the brothers concerned. So we took a vote on that. Do we want to take that vote again? Basically what you're voting for, if you vote for it, then Golden Jubilarians start paying dues. If you vote against it, then obviously it falls. So if
you vote against it, then the money still comes out there.
Supreme Night, but if then you agree it is the case that Golden Jubilarians are to pay dues, then Tony's amendment comes in. That the dues are then taken or paid to the Central Benevolent Fund. So the first resolution here is basically the status quo as it stands is that dues are paid from a Central Benevolent Fund. It's saying now that dues will not be paid from a Central Benevolent Fund, and therefore Golden Jubilarians will start paying dues. So can we have all those in favour of that proposal? The proposal I've just said, John. Are you in favour? Well, Brother John, if you listen, maybe you would hear.
Brothers, no shout, come on.
Brother John.
Brother, please.
There's one proposal. The proposal is that, brothers, they're voting for, if you vote yes here, if you vote in favour of this proposal, then Golden Jubilarians will start paying dues. That's a simple proposal. So all those in favour of Golden Jubilarians starting to pay dues. Please show.
That's lost then.
That's lost. And therefore, because that's lost, they're not paying dues, and therefore the Second Amendment doesn't stand, brothers.
Yep. Thank you, Brother Charlie.
Finally, Worthy Supreme Knight, I might get to proposal 3.
Yeah.
All right. Supreme Council is asked to approve the central accounts of the Order, the Central Benevolent Fund account. That's it.
Can I have a seconder for that, brother? Brother Roger? All in favour? Okay, those against?
That resolution fails.
That resolution fails, so we need to have to maybe go to an advocate or something.
Well, you have to present them to the Constitution. Will have to present them to back to the Supreme.
Brother Richard, come up to the microphone.
Yep.
Who's that one?
Thank you, Percy.
Brother Richard.
Worthy Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, brothers.
Brothers.
You can't actually, it's not a sensible thing not to approve the accounts. You've had a report, we may not like it, but you're approving the fact that it's a deficit on the central account. That's fact, there's no sense in not approving it. Might I suggest as a compromise, Supreme Council is asked to approve the central account and Central Benevolent Fund account, subject, and add the words, subject to, and you then define what the restrictions are effectively on the board during the following year. So, for example, subject to the board training as previously discussed to be a mandatory part of the board's programme thereafter. You get the drift. In other words, you can say you approve it and it is now subject to the following conditions. Is that helpful, Worthy Supreme Knight?
I'm not really quite sure because I don't think you've already voted.
Well, the trouble is they voted against.
They voted against the actual report. Brother Jim Hall. Hang on, brothers. Right.
Worthy Supreme Knight, I voted against that just then because on the point that these are draft accounts. They're not signed off accounts yet because of problems that they were the Grand Supreme Knight and Brother Bertie has referred to. They've got to have more meetings with the accountants discussing, swapping over funds from one account to another, etc. I don't think we can accept the accounts as a draft account until they're signed off properly. I might be wrong, but that was the reason I voted against them.
Brother Jim, actually, I quite agree with you. The fact that because Brother Bertie and I still have to meet the accountants, and I think the way forward would be for Brother Bertie and I to get the problems that we've found out, get them ironed out, send them out to the Supreme Councillors, and then ask for your approval once they've been set out. Brother Tony.
It has to come back to Supreme Council. Now, it can be done that way, the way that you've suggested. But it has to come back to Supreme Council because that's the only body that can approve the account.
Okay, so then what needs to happen then is Brother Bertie and I need to go and get the problems fixed out that we find, come back up with a set of accounts, and they will need to be approved at next year's Supreme Council.
It can be approved by the way you're suggesting. By sending them out to every Supreme Councillor and asking for their opinion.
For their opinion, okay.
But they must all reply.
Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do then is Brother Bertie and I will go away and spend another few sleepless nights trying to get the accounts organised. Once we agree with the accountant and the accounts are signed off, we'll send all the Supreme Councillors a new set of accounts for you to look at, and you must return back to us a yes or no as far as that goes. Okay, brothers, do you agree with that? Thank you, brothers.
Did you say something about my hair going grey from grey to white in the last 12 weeks?
Yeah.
You said yours was going pink. I thought you were going to dye it.
Yeah, mine's just going like Ray Peeling's empty.
Right, sorry about
In fact, sorry, I'll say as Father Baptiste said last night, every hair in my head has been counted.
We have to have a little bit of frivolity, brothers. It's not that serious. It isn't, it isn't. Right, Word of Supreme Knight. Can I move on to Proposal 4?
Yeah.
The Supreme Council approved Mr Paul Craig of Millen Craig as our accountant for the coming year. Quite simple.
Yes.
Carried, yes, thank you very much. Second, third, fourth, yes, approved, thank you very much, yes. Approved, Word of Supreme Knight. Whoa, got that one easy. Finally, brothers, may I say my supreme thanks to the, thanks to the Supreme Knight and Mary Young down at the end down there. Mary is quietly listening to all of this. But of course she has had both the Supreme Knight and myself on her for the last 10, 11 weeks, 12 weeks. Mary, can I have a piece of paper that says X, Y and Z? Thank you, Mary. My committee, Brother Martin Cook, Regional Director of 5. Brother Martin is the investment manager for the Order, who sees the investment managers and comes back to the board after he has seen them and tells us all what is happening, and we approve it, look at the investments, etc., and you have a list of the investors in your account books. Thank you, Brother Martin. Brother Mike Dean, who's also a member of my committee. That's it, Word of Supreme Knight.
Thank you very much, brother. Brother Solomon, would you like to come up to the...
Oh, yes.
Word of Supreme Knight.
Brother Solomon?
Yeah. Word of Supreme Knight. Lord Bishop. Directors. Brother Councillors. I just want to sort of acknowledge Brother Betty for excellent work done on the accounts and some of the efforts that have been put into the financial statements that have been presented, although some of them we are sort of, disputing some of the figures. But at least we should acknowledge the work done by Brother Betty. Thank you, Brother Betty.
Thank you, Brother Solomon.
Word of Supreme Knight, can I, brother Dammy, just one moment, please. Can I say, brothers, that the set of budgets that I have in there will also be contained with what's going out to you, is the budget for the following year, brothers. Is that all right? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Word of Supreme Knight, Bishop Tom. Brothers, can I ask you to respect the chamber? When anybody's up in these podiums, I shouldn't be hearing anybody out here. Understand we've got a wee heated debate on, but please respect the chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Don. Well done. Did you want to say anything there, Charlie? Are you okay? Okay, fine, thanks. I'd just like to ask Bishop Tom to do a scripture reading now. Thank you.
Thanks for your welcome, and my apologies again for the late arrival. My chauffeur came across a tree across the road in Moffat, so we were delayed somewhat there. But I'd never been to Moffat before. I remember an undertaker in St Helens near Liverpool, and one of the drivers that he employed was a Scotsman, a lovely man. and when I asked him where had he come from, he said Moffat. So I'd seen signs for it off the M74 once in a while. We've never actually been there, so I had a trip there today. So if you haven't been, it's well worth a visit. Just to... one of the things I tend to do is someone says, well, you do a scripture reading. I just take what we hear in church, whatever the readings of the day are. So this is the gospel given for today from St. Luke's Gospel, which we're reading during the week when there isn't a feast day or memorial or other celebration going on in our churches. So we'll just pause for a moment in silence, just recollect ourselves and prepare our hearts and mind to receive the words of the Lord, the gospel of the Lord. The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. In the meantime, when so many thousands of the people had gathered together that they were trampling one another, he began to say to his disciples first, "Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Nothing is covered up that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. Therefore, whatever you have said in the dark shall be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in private rooms shall be proclaimed on the housetops. I tell you, my friends, do not fear those who kill the body, and after that can have nothing more that they can do. But I will warn you whom to fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has authority to cast into hell. Yes, I tell you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies, and not one of them is forgotten before God? Why, even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, you are of more value than many sparrows." The Gospel of the Lord.
Thank you very much, my Lord Bishop. If we just take a couple of seconds to reflect on that Gospel, brothers. Okay, we'll carry on with the rest of the business. Brothers, I will now pass it over to Brother Bertie and release my chain again for nominations for...
Brothers, can I have nominations for Supreme Knight for the coming year? Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, brothers. Any other nominations? Nominations closed, brothers. Thank you, brothers. Was there someone muttering in the background? No? Too late. Nominations closed.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much, brothers. Father Baptiste, I'm sure I'll be counting all the hairs on my head over the next 12 months. I'd like to say a very big thank you very much, brothers. Where do I go from here? Right. We've probably only got about another half hour, 45 minutes, so what we'll do is, Brother Frank Kelly, would you like to put your report forward? I'll take a couple of the regional directors to make it, and we'll save some of the big stuff for tomorrow. Thanks, brother.
Well, thanks for that, Brother Supreme Knight. I'm really pleased to be up here first after the finance report. Short report, brothers. I'm sure if you find it on the pages, it will be interesting. I'll count to 10 to see who's getting it first. It is a short report, brothers, because when I wrote it, we were just back from the summer holidays. And the councils were just back, so they really hadn't done as much as they should have. But a big congratulations to Province 3 the Provincial Grand Knight John Ferns and his provincial officers. When we finish here on Sunday, on Tuesday I think it is, Brother John and the officers are off to Arbroath to interview some gentlemen with the object of starting a new council up there. They also have made inroads into Dundee and Invergordon, I believe it is, Inverness, Dundee, Inverness, Perth. All these places are getting visited, and the intention is to restart the councils, resurrect the council in Dundee and Inverness. So a big thanks to them. They've done really well. Province 1, as you see behind me here, the statue of St Michael. That statue has moved all over Scotland with the help of the Brother John O'Donnell from Province 1 and help from some of the other brothers in the province, and I include myself in that, brothers. It's moved from Aberdeen all the way south. So that was a big undertaking for the past year, or 18 months I believe. The relics, as you know, brothers, have been on the go all over the United Kingdom, or Great Britain. Brother John and I collected them in June of this year on a beautiful summer's day in Carfin, and took them down to Brother Barry Johnson and Carlisle, and then they moved on right down to the south of England and came back up. As you know, the relics are with us here at our Supreme Council. So, brothers, that really is the short report that I've got. I'm sure some of the other regional directors will have a longer one, but I would ask you to approve that report. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you, Brother Frank. Any brother from Province 1, Province 16, who have I missed? Or Province 3. I'm looking right. If you want to comment on Brother Frank's report, brothers, can we adopt Brother Frank's report? Show of hands. Thank you very much. That's for Brother Barry. We might as well go for you. I might do some of these now. No resolution.
Worthy Supreme Knight,
Brother Barry,
Lord Bishop, Brothers, Barry Johnston, Regional Director, Region 2. Region consists of Province 2 Liverpool, Province 6 Cumbria, Province 7 Lancaster and Province 37 North Wales. The short report from each province. Province 2, the provincial and council meetings are being held, and the provincial and council action plans have been updated. Province 2's finances are all in order except for one. The province has been asked about the late payments from three councils, and I've been informed that help is available. Brothers are also taking part in fundraising events, and the province is very active in the diocesan pilgrimage to Lourdes, helping pilgrims and the clergy. Councils are trying to recruit new members. Several men have been approached by the website, and others have been approached personally. I'm just waiting to hear from Brother Aidan from the province about an initiation ceremony about 7 new brothers. The councils in Province 2 have been helping at the All-Kirk Mass, who unfortunately couldn't go. This takes place at near the little village of Little Crosby and dates from the Reformation, where a Catholic family risked their lives by allowing Mass to be celebrated there. Province 2 held a dinner on the feast of St Columba, but they've seen Supreme Knight being in attendance. Will be past Supreme Knight the Supreme Director for Youth, and 3 regional directors. And brothers also turned up to help at the biannual Mass on this Saturday. Province 6, Cumbria. Although it's a very large province, there are very few councils. There's one large council, which is Council 60 Carlisle, and 2 smaller ones on the west coast, Council 74 Whitehaven and Council 57 Millen. There is a council in Kendal with just 1 brother at the moment. Over the last over the last year or so, 4 councils with large numbers have closed. These councils, unfortunately, were attached to Columba clubs. The dues were subsidised by bar profits. When bar profits began to fall, and members were required to pay the full dues, unfortunately they walked away. Recruitment is taking place, and Council 60 celebrated their centenary a short while ago. Province 7 Lancaster, unfortunately this is another large province with only 4 active councils. And the brothers are all doing their best. Recruiting events are taking place at various parishes in the province, especially in the Preston area. Several inquiries have been made in the Fylde region, which includes Blackpool. Brother Cufford, the PGK, has been speaking to the gentleman concerned. Finance in the province is good. The PGK now has all the items from Council 91 Blackpool, and is now in discussion with the bank and how to get the money transferred to head office. The action plan for the province has been approved and is being acted on. The relics are going to St Mary's, Penwitham. The PGK, Brother Cuthbert, has visited all councils in the province. They also reported about the emergency meeting in Birmingham. Province 37, North Wales. I believe this is the smallest province in the region. Although small in numbers, it is a very hard-working province. Brother Roy and his team, plus the GKs, are doing tremendous work for the order. They are trying to recruit and open a new council and reopen another one. One gentleman has been interviewed for Council 614. Brothers are all active in areas of the councils. A large number of Grand National Draw tickets were sold in province. Help has also been given to food banks in the province. And an action plan for the coming year has been sent out to the councils. All the provinces did receive the relics, and there was tremendous turnout. And we've had quite a few inquiries by the website and by people approaching us personally, asking about the order and the work that we do. We even had a gentleman from Carfin arrived down in Carlisle to visit the relics, and he was taken aback when he was told that they live at Carfin. That concludes my report, Worthy Supreme.
Okay, thank you, Brother Barry. Brothers from Province 37, Province 2 and Province 6, if you wish to. Okay. Thanks very much, brothers. Now you know why I did these reports. I can catch up sometime. Thanks very much, brothers. Could we adopt Brother Barry's report? So we're ready to do these. Brothers, I think I've got enough time to do a couple of resolutions. Oh, sorry. No? All right, you've adopted it, yeah? Thank you. Well, that's okay. We all live and learn, brother. It's okay. We've all done these things. Brothers, I'm going to do the resolutions, and because Brother Jim Pugh's not been able to make it, I've asked Brother Bertie to start off. And we'll see how far we get with him, yeah? Yeah?
Come under a different guise this time, brothers. Right, brothers. Supreme Knight has asked me, brothers, to present resolutions to you. Have you found them yet? It's after the Supreme Knight's report, brothers, if that helps you. About the first 30 pages in, roughly speaking. Oh, wait a moment. So we're all on the same page. Right? Can we start, brothers, right? Yes, okay. Supreme Council 23 is asked to consider, if considered appropriate, to approve these resolutions. Resolution 1 is from Province 7, Lancashire. Province 7 resolution of the Supreme Council states that the Constitution and rules of the order be amended as follows. That the mission statement and paragraph A2 and B1, the word men be substituted with words men and women. That in paragraph A6, the word ladies be deleted. That in all subsequent paragraphs, the word brother be substituted with the word member. The words fraternal and fraternity be substituted with the word caring. The words he has be substituted with the words they have, paragraph D1. The word his be substituted with the word their, paragraph D2. The word himself be substituted with the word themself, paragraph E. The comment from the Rules and Resolutions team is the comment that if approved, this would permit women to join the order.
Brother Cuthbert, do you want to come up and speak on behalf of that for Province 7?
Yes.
Yep.
Cuthbert Coleshaw, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 7, Lancaster. In 1919, brothers, it was probably perfectly appropriate to establish an order made up, consisting only of Catholic men. In 2023, I would argue that maybe it's no longer appropriate. In the last 100 years or so, society has changed. Attitudes have changed. Laws have changed. Indeed, only recently, the legal advisors to the well-renowned Garrick Club in London have told them that their 192-year-old rule that excludes women from joining may no longer be sustainable. Our membership, the membership of our order, as I'm sure everyone in this room is aware, has been in decline for quite a number of years, and probably in more recent years that decline has accelerated. So why on earth are we excluding at least 50% of the population from joining our order? Doesn't make sense. The time has come for change. Because if we do nothing, are we still going to have an order of Knights of St. Columba 100 years from now? Or even 10 years from now? It's time to stop burying our heads in the sand of the past. It's time to become a forward-looking, dynamic order that welcomes all practicing Catholics into its fold. And if we did that, and we accepted... Okay, if we did that and accepted women amongst us, what a fantastic recruitment tool that could be. I'm sure Brother Danny could have a beano with that. So let's decide today to face that change, to be forward-looking, and to say, yes, we're going to permit women to join our order, to join our modern and 21st century Knights of St. Columba. Brothers, I ask you to vote for this resolution.
Okay, brothers, thank you, brother. Sorry, hang on, brother. Brother Berry,
Or the Supreme Knight, it takes 2/3 majority to change the Constitution.
Okay. Okay, brothers. Brothers, anybody wish to talk on this? Thank you.
Bruce McCullough, past Provincial Grand Knight, Province 7. I don't think any of us married brothers could do the work we do without the support of our wives. I certainly couldn't. Over the years, our wives have done many, many things for the order, and I don't think we would have survived this long without them. And many brothers like myself have stood outside churches, handing leaflets out, trying to recruit brothers. And how many of us have come across ladies who say, "Can't women join the order?"
Excuse me, brother, could you take the mic closer to your mouth, please?
How many of us have been outside churches handing out leaflets when ladies have come up to us and said, "Can't women join the order?" And I would say, well, why can't they? Thank you, brothers.
Thank you, Brother Bruce. Brother Michael?
Very Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, brothers. Brother Michael Gallagher, immediate past, Province 14, Portsmouth. This type of resolution has come up through our councils in Portsmouth before, but has not been approved at provincial level. Yes, I hear what you're saying about ladies coming to join us. Yes, they, to me, are already there, helping out in the ways that have just been described. But the one point I want to make here, and I've been advised by a previous director of the board, if we change to allow ladies to join us and become part of the Knights of St. Columba, what position does that leave us in with being fully members of the International Alliance of Catholic Knights? The understanding I've been given is that we would be disqualified, for want of a word.
Thank you, Brother Michael. You just took my thunder. Brothers, sorry, I'll let Brother Brian speak first before answering it.
My Lord Bishop, worthy Provincial, worthy Supreme Knight.
Come on.
Reverend Fathers, Brian Beaton, immediate past Provincial Grand Knight, Province 3. I have no objections to women joining, but let it have their section and the gents section. That's what I would say. And I truly support what everybody else has said. We get, every time I'm giving out leaflets in my parish, have we not getting let ladies join? I said, well, no at this moment in time, but I believe it's coming up at Supreme Council. So I'll report back to you later on.
Thank you, Brother Brian. Brother Charlie.
Well, it's been right, my Lord Bishop. It might be interesting of what the view of the clergy and the hierarchy is on it. Certainly, in a discussion I had with Bishop John Keenan a number of years ago in relation to this, Bishop of Paisley, he was very, very supportive of us remaining an order of Catholic men. He said there are many organisations across the Catholic Church where men and women are involved, but it's very, very few organisations where it's solely men, where they can get together in faith and fraternity and work together, and the Knights of St. Columba is one of those. One of the things I would say on the IAC point, and as a point of order, some people will say there are women in other IAC orders. They are not full members in any of those orders. They are separate sections. So therefore, there would be nothing against, we would not be kicked out of the International Alliance of Catholic Knights if we allowed women into the order, as long as they had a separate section, a separate Grand Knight or Grand Lady, Noble Lady, whatever you want to call it, through all that situation, and that would be the case to move forward. They could never attend a meeting of the Knights of St. Columba. If they do, we'd be out of IAC, and the other IAC orders would have a field day. They'd be in here in a minute, and brothers may leave this order and join other orders that don't allow women in. So there's all sorts of complications in there in relation to if we did allow ladies in. But if we made that decision, this resolution isn't the way to do it, because this resolution actually says they would be full members of the Knights of St. Columba. And that, my opinion, brothers, it can happen if you vote for it, but if you vote for it, you're effectively taking yourself out of the International Alliance of Catholic Knights. And I would urge you not to vote for it, because I think the order is a fantastic order of Catholic men. I think we should continue to be so and strive to be so. And if we do that, then I'm sure that's where we'll recruit. And as for ladies, I could not have done anything in this order. In fact, for most of my life, I couldn't have done it through my married life without the support and help of my wife. Can I tell you one thing just now? The last organisation she would ever join would be the Knights of St Columba.
No, Bertie, before you go on, I have to concur with exactly what Brother Charlie says. And most of the men in this room are the exact same. I've seen every single one of us, never mind most, every single one of us could not be doing the job that we're doing in this organisation without a good ladies behind me. And I've got to agree with Charlie. Tricia would never want to join the Knights of St Columba, I can assure you of that. She's made it quite clear, and Pauline's the same. Carry on, Brother Bertie. Okay, right, do we need... okay, brothers, can we have a vote? All for the resolution, for the actual resolution there to...
If you vote for Worthy Supreme Knight, it means you approve the ladies in the order. You have to vote against it if you want to keep them out. Excuse me, being blunt.
Yeah, got it. So, everybody in favour of the proposal, can we raise your hands? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's defeated, brothers.
Thank you, brothers. We move on to Resolution 2, brothers. It's for a proposal of changes is from Province 10. Proposal for changes to Constitution and Rules of the Order. Proposal 1, Membership Database. Proposal Council 270 Colchester Supreme Council. Notes that we have a membership records at head office, province and council level. 2, that sometimes these records do not match or align. The errors have occurred in the use of an Excel spreadsheet. Such records have no particular individual's fault. Supreme Council believes that we should be aiming to be the premier Catholic men's organisation in the country. 2, that such we must embrace the ideas that ensure, while keeping our core charisma of charity, union and fraternity, to enter in the 21st century. Number 3, that this includes improvement with the way we utilise the tools of the 21st century. 4, that it is unprofessional in the 21st century to use inappropriate and inadequate software for the keeping of membership records. Supreme Council resolves to task the Board of Directors that we investigate the purchase of a membership information system, consumer resources management system, or the creation of a bespoke platform to keep our membership records on. 2, that such a system must enable the automation of information transfer as much as possible, e.g. automatically emailing a PGK when a new member joins a council, etc. 3, that such a system must enable Grand Knights and secretaries to input new members' details and references, etc. into the system. That such a system will enable ordinary members to update their details on the system themselves, thereby resolving many of the issues that surround incorrect or inaccurate details being held. Comment: if approved, this must be in line with data protection.
Brother Liam Rand, would you like to come up and as your province?
Worthy Supreme Knights, my Lord Bishop, brothers. It's very long-winded. Brother Liam Rand, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 10. It's very long-winded. Basically, what we're asking for is a professional membership software package that can be used by all councils to update information, so as we have constantly got accurate information at our fingertips all of the time. I still get councils in my province who may be guilty of not completing paperwork correctly, but they've still got brothers that appear on invoices that have been dead for several years and things like that, and we're constantly having to correct that. This is really just a step into the future and just using software that gives us instant access and keeps our records completely up to date. I hope that you do approve such a matter, and it's for the board to investigate and get something. Having had the discussion about finances and expenditure, they need to investigate and get something that is appropriate but also cost effective to the order. Worthy Supreme Knight. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Liam. It's open for discussion, Brother Tony.
I think all in favour of us moving on and becoming a modern organisation, but I think the last thought that Brother made is the important thing at the moment. We can't spend on the kind of thing like this. It's something for the future and something we should keep in mind, but I don't think we can spend it on it now.
Anybody else? Oh, up you come. Brother Michael.
Worthy Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, brothers, Brother Michael Gallagher, I think you know who I am. I was going to make the point about costs, definitely. I think that needs to be looked into a bit more before we can really go ahead with this. So it is, I think, something for the future. But I'm trying to recall, I think the last time I was PGK, we had something where the PGKs could go in and do some amendments, if I remember right. So what's happened to that? And can we look back at that and maybe enhance it the way Brother Liam is saying?
Thank you, Brother Michael. Brother Roger, are you quite happy? Same question. Thanks very much. Brother Paddy.
The Supreme Lord Bishop. Paddy Boyle, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 12. I don't think it necessarily needs to be that expensive. Our demands are not that great, but it would seem, talking of cost efficiency and the duplication and the out of sync data that goes back and forth is crazy. That consumes an awful lot of time. It must have a cost implication in itself. But in our discussion within our provincial council meeting, it didn't seem correct that it would go right down to each member, that it should be at a level above that, certainly at the provincial level, possibly even out to a representative from the council, but not opening the system up to be edited or to be modified by individual members. That was our thought.
Thank you, Brother Brian.
My Lord Bishop, Worthy Supreme Knight, Reverend Father.
Glad you got it right this time.
Brother Brian being immediate past Provincial Grand Knight, Province 3. I would like to propose that the Provincial Grand Knights contact all their Grand Knights in their area and they collect all their membership and then they forward it to the head office. There's no need to go...
Sorry, Brother Brian, can I just say to you that we actually had that exercise before Christmas last year?
I know, and I don't know why we're...
I think there was less than 20% actually done it, so...
Well, let's try it again, rather than go to an expensive system.
Thank you, Brother Brian, yeah. Anybody else? Brother Berry?
Do we take it to a vote, Very Supreme Knight?
Yeah.
It is to investigate, remember as well, brothers, but there is a cost in all this. So, brothers, 2/3 majority, brothers? No, it's not.
It's just another resolution.
No, it's just not a resolution. Sorry, right, okay, big pardon.
Okay.
Right, brothers. Can we have a show of hands, brothers, please?
All in favour? We need a count, Charlie.
Brother Charlie, can you
Betty's doing
show
my
your
job as
eyes
well.
over that?
Well done, Betty, thank you. Okay. Okay, that resolution falls. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Charlie and Tony. Right, brothers, on the resolution. Sorry, William.
No, I was going to say, go on number 3.
Resolution number 3, brothers. That's meeting of the regional directors and rules and resolution committee proposal 2, that the introduction of long service certificates. Proposer is Council 270 Colchester. Notes 1 that we have formal awards for 25 and 50 years of service. We have made awards for even longer periods of service. We make no formal awards for other periods of service. Supreme Council believes that all service of a particular length of time should be recognised. That in the modern world, someone giving 5 years or more of their time and effort is an achievement to be recognised. That such acknowledgement would help to strengthen our retention of members by recognising their efforts. Not all service may merit the award of a meritorious service jewel. Supreme Council resolves to task the Board of Directors to design and create a service certificate issued centrally and signed by the Supreme Knight in a 10-year increment starting at 10 years of service These would be issued at 10 years, 20, 30, 40, etc. with SGAs and remaining. These would be awarded locally by the Grand Knight of the Council or the Provincial Grand Knight of the Province, that the necessary handbooks are updated with such changes. I'm slightly confused in that we're talking 2 above a 5. Anyway, that's not for me. Council comments. If approved, would create more awards in recognition of the brothers' loyalty. Brother Liam Rand, I think.
Brother Liam again.
Brothers. Basically, what we're looking for is brothers that have maybe done, say, 10 years in the order, get some recognition. We give a medal at the moment for 25 years. We give recognition for 50 years. It would just be nice for brothers that have done a shorter period of time maybe to receive a certificate at a ceremony to thank them for the work that they've done. If they've been with us for 10 years, they've probably done a considerable amount of work in that period of time. I know all councils are extremely hard working, and I just think that's something that we need to look at and to move forward with. It's something that the Scouts organisation does incredibly well for the people that actually work within that organisation. They get acknowledged for the work that they've done. And I think as we move forward, it would be something that would be nice to see happen, and especially with our younger brothers that are joining us, I think it's a recognition for the work that they're doing. I hope that you feel that you can approve this. Thank you very much, brothers. Worthy Supreme.
Thank you very much, Brother Liam. I'll open it for debate in a second. But what I would say is already we have provincial Grand Knights and Grand Knights phoning me up and sending me emails asking for that, and we actually do a certificate for depending on what it's actually for. So personally, I've got no problem. Brother Roy.
Worthy Supreme Knight, yes, my Lord Bishop. Roy Hyde-Lineker, Provincial Grand Knight, Province 37. I don't see that there is any reason that a Provincial Grand Knight cannot locally give a certificate to recognise the service of any brother, whether it be for length of service or something that he has done to say, well done. I mean, particular service can be noted if a brother's done something very meritorious to actually have that award as well. But if every single brother is recognised at 5-year periods, then it becomes a terrific burden and a cost involved for the Supreme Knight. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Roy. Brother Tony?
If a brother's done meritorious service, he can get a meritorious service medal. There is no time limit on that medal. I mean, at one stage we did get to it where almost people were being given it as soon as they applied for the order. But I'm not asking for that. But I mean, there is no reason if somebody has done 5 years or 6 years with meritorious service for them to get a meritorious service order rather than get another certificate. It's one of those, have that many of like, you have more medals than Goring.
It's because you're nearly a Golden Jubilearian.
I am one.
Oh, yeah. Tony, I didn't think you were that old. I'm giving you compliments here, that's terrible. Brother Bertie, on this,
Worthy Supreme Knight, in my term as Supreme Knight, I was signing certificates and all that for 5 years, 10 years and all the rest of it. So I don't see what the issue is. We do it automatically. I don't know if you do it. I'm sure you do.
Oh, yeah, I've done a few.
Good boy. Thank you.
It's open for, well, it's now open for debate. Can we have a vote on it, brother, to be quite honest? All in favour of that resolution, raise your hands, please. That's failed.
That's
Thank
failed,
you,
brothers. We move on. Resolution 4, brothers. On the rules section, E, suspension or withdrawal of membership. Item D, remove the word club from the sentence and now reads, misappropriation of or fraud relating to any monies of the order of or any council or committee of the order. Can I say, brothers, that really this carried over from a error in the books. The order is not involved in clubs anymore. They have a completely separate constitution and all the rest. We have no clubs that we are directly involved in anymore. But this tightens up that rule.
It tightens it up, and it saves us from somebody using the rule to say we still have the clubs. So I would actually say, brothers, can we have a vote on that without discussion, because there's no point to the discussion on it. Brothers, all in favour? Thank you very much, brothers. Charlie, I think that's carried. Yep, thank you.
Resolution 5. Rules Section 3, regions, referring to regions. And it says 3. To remove the wording from Chief Executive Officer of the region to the Supreme Knights representative of the region. And also to remove the word proxy.
That's open for debate again as well. It's just a paperwork exercise. Because to me, the Chief Executive Officer is the Supreme Knight, and he's the Chief Executive Officer of the whole order. And it should be the Supreme Knight's representative in the region. I think it's quite clear. It's open for debate if anybody wants to say anything.
Word is Supreme Knight. It's only tidying up what's in there. There's nothing major in there. And as is the next piece, as regards proxy.
Yeah. Brothers, all in favour of that, please? Thank you very much. Brother Bertie, don't put that last one in. We'll do that one tomorrow.
So I can cross it out mine then?
No, you don't cross it out. We'll save it for tomorrow, but I think there'll be a bit more debate on it. So, brothers, it's 5:30. The hotel needs to get in and prepare the room for the Jack McArdle lecture and for dinner for later on. So if we can ask... Sorry?
Well, the Supreme Knight, I would like to invite Brother Brian up. He wants to say something.
My Lord Bishop, Word of the Supreme Knight, Reverend Fathers, Brothers, Word of the Supreme Knight, would you like to join me down here, please? Lord the Supreme Knight, on behalf of Province 3, we would like to present you with this plaque, which has just been released. It's a plaque of St Columba, one of many. We hope that it will be sold during the next year.
Thank you. I would just like to say thank you very much, Brother Brian. It's a very beautiful plaque. It'll be here on view beside the candles for the rest of the weekend, so you can see it. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you very much to Province 3. Brothers, as the room will be getting changed for dinner, you need to take all your belongings back to your room or back with you tonight. So I'd like to ask Bishop Tom to finish off with night prayers.
We give thanks to God for the gift of being present in each other's company. We thank God for the journeys that we've made to get here, a safe arrival, for those who assisted us on the way, for the welcome we've been given in this hotel. We think also of those people who in the last 48 hours or so in this part of the country and other places have suffered because of the weather. We think of, I think it's two, a man and a woman who have lost their lives. So we pray for their eternal rest. Eternal rest grant to them, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in peace. Amen. We think also of their families, those who are bereaved, those who are injured, and also those who are working to combat the weather, those restoring power to people's homes, and those who are responsible then for keeping us safe on our roads. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Saint Andrew, Saint Columba,